Netflix recently announced that they will be introducing an ad-based subscription tier. But why? Why is a streaming site that has been against the idea of baking in ads suddenly decided to just roll with it? Is Netflix in trouble? Are Disney Plus and HBO Max catching up? Looking into their revenue report for Q1 of 2022, it seems they are rapidly losing subscribers compared to 2021 and will lose more in the coming months. So what's going on? Why is Netflix struggling? Find out in today's video. It wasn't very long ago that Netflix surpassed Walt Disney and became the most valuable company in the US. However, their skyrocketing success has taken a dire fall. For the first time in 10 years, Netflix has lost 200,000 subscribers globally. The horror doesn't stop there. The company forecasts losing an additional 200,000 subscribers in the second quarter of this year. The bitter part is that they had predicted an increase of 2.7 million gain in subscribers. On top of that, in March, the company suspended its operations in Russia, resulting in a loss of 700,000 subscribers. If you count out such unforeseen circumstances, Netflix still only added 500,000 subscribers than their initial estimate of 2.7 million. But even in 2021, the situation wasn't that bad. In the fourth quarter of 2021, Netflix had 221.8 million subscribers. Currently, it's down to 221.6 million. Sadly, the woes of Netflix don't stop there. The loss in subscribers also had a snowball effect on their stock valuation. Revenue-wise, the $7.78 billion earned this quarter was 10% more than last year, but didn't meet the expectations of $7.93 billion. While revenue went up, stock valuation crumbled by nearly 40%, making it the worst single-day performance Netflix had in almost a decade. But why? You can call it a snowball effect from losing subscribers and a mismatch between expectation and reality. Let's start with the subscribers first. One of the most significant subscriber losses came from exiting Russia. There's no doubt that when 700,000 subscribers are involuntarily removed from the platform, it will leave a dent. Then there's inflation. During the pandemic, Netflix and other OTT platforms were our primary source of entertainment. However, as the world starts to reopen, mixed with the war on Ukraine, prices are increasing by leaps and bounds. So to cut costs, people are leaving entertainment for necessities. Moreover, 84% of the American household keeps 4 streaming services, and 64% of them prefer ad-based subscriptions. In other words, people don't mind seeing ads as long as they're paying less. So you can see how Netflix raising its price resulted in the loss of subscribers. Also, when it comes to cutting down a subscription, people tend to cut out the earliest subscription for the latest one. It's only natural because the value has been reaped, and returns are very little to keep people on the site. The pandemic had another effect, one that even Netflix stated in their letter to shareholders. Due to many people subscribing, it clouded their judgment. When the subscriber count began to fall, they assumed it was because of the COVID pull forward. That's also where the mismatch between expectations and reality comes in. Besides these, rapidly growing competition also negatively affected them, but more on that later. But surely, exiting Russia wasn't the only reason behind the avalanche, so what else is there? First, there's the increase in the subscription fees. After almost 2 years, Netflix announced a bump in their monthly subscription. Sadly, that one cost them 600,000 subscribers in the US and Canada. That's, however, only part of the problem. The other thorn in the road is the password sharing problem. There are 222 million paying households, but when you consider password sharing, there are 100 million more users. Not only that, in the UCAN region, there are 30 million more due to the password sharing problem. Coupled with losing subscribers, this can make a considerable dent in Netflix's revenue. However, these are just half the problems. There are problems within Netflix, and it's time they looked in the mirror. You see, when Netflix went digital back in 2008, its success was piggybacked by the content of other companies. It wasn't a huge problem back then because their original business model was renting DVDs. However, relying on borrowed content became the Achilles heel for Netflix. The debt from this pursuit of quantity over quality shows signs of unsustainability. For example, nearing the end of 2018, Netflix lost its right to Friends. This show was, at the time, the third most watched show on the site. So on top of the costly streaming rights of $30 million, they spent $100 million more to keep the show for just another year. Also, besides Friends, shows like Grey's Anatomy and The Office were also leaving Netflix. The problem gets even more serious when you realize that both millennials and Gen Z viewers love these shows, making up almost 63% of viewers. So Netflix had to keep them on their site while increasing their debt. Sadly, if you want to watch Friends, you won't find it on Netflix anymore. It's on HBO Max. Following such a low-risk way to make a profit is now biting back. But that's not all. Netflix originals also cause problems. Not only that, but they are being forced to rely on those. The fact is that Netflix doesn't always make the best originals, and when they do, not enough goes into making them better. Look at the current original shows on the site. You will see an extremely high number of episodes and production value invested in them. But quantity doesn't always translate to popularity. Some of these shows are hard to watch with their sluggish plot progression. It's as if Netflix is making originals just to fill in the blanks left by the shows they borrowed, mass-produced with no room for success. Also, people who prefer certain cinematic universes will also leave Netflix. For example, popular shows such as Daredevil, Jessica Jones, and other shows of the Marvel Cinematic Universe have moved to Disney+. Now imagine, Sony and DC did the same thing. A lot of shows that people love on Netflix will be on other platforms, and people will no longer have a compelling reason to buy Netflix subscriptions. All the more reason for Netflix to start focusing on quality over quantity. If an OTT platform wants to succeed, they need two types of shows, one that attracts viewers and the other to keep them on the platform. However, besides these two, the third and most crucial element is buzzworthy shows. While Netflix has shows that bring in viewers and other shows that keep them hooked, the third element is a hit or miss with them. Without these buzzing titles, people won't stick around for long, because it's not just the shows, but the conversations and community built around those. For example, take Apple TV's Ted Lasso, or The Mandalorian from Disney+. These buzzy titles bring in people, get them hooked, and keep them talking about the shows. It seems Apple and Disney have learned to play Netflix's game better than them. So maximizing the catalog without any relevance does no good to Netflix. Today, Netflix is losing rights to shows that people love, and the company that owns these shows are introducing its own OTT platform. Not only that, but these competitors are also rapidly growing and proving themselves to be worthy competitors of Netflix. So much so that high-profile movies like Don't Look Up and Red Notice couldn't make a dent. So what's Plan B for Netflix? They have taken some steps towards fixing them, but only time will tell if those would prove worthy. The first step towards recovery is already in motion and will be available from the end of this year. Netflix will introduce an ad-based subscription tier and cut the cost. They have also implemented features to better understand their viewers, like the double like feature. This feature will let the company know what shows they like the most. For their shows, Netflix said that they are prioritizing story development and creative excellence. Also, they are prioritizing international success, believing that most of their success lies outside the US border. The company is expanding their business to cloud-based gaming, and other companies are interested in joining this venture. Gaming companies believe that making animated shows will attract more customers to their game, and Netflix sees the future in the cloud-based gaming industry. While they are currently working with mobile games only, if they can succeed to grow as big as Nvidia and other such services, people just might stay there instead of buying a few different subscriptions. Netflix is also testing waters with another system where outside members pay $2 to $3 more. If that succeeds, we might see another change in subscription plans. Or maybe not. Time will tell. Netflix, as of now, has a global subscriber count of 221.64 million, coming down from last year's subscriber count of 221.84 million. Will Netflix's Plan B work? Will they remain the king of streaming sites? Only time will tell. What we can tell is that if Netflix doesn't act quickly, it will be dethroned by Disney Plus shortly. Piggybacking off borrowed content is no longer a viable option. They need to emphasize putting out better shows with better writing and all that, and stop making shows just for the sake of it. Also, if their experiment in Peru leads to bumping up the subscription prices more, not many people will stick around. So the ball is in their court. It's time to see what they do.